That man is not mentally fit to be president. And the people around him covering all of this up, they are the worst type of enablers because they're putting the country at greater risk, even the world at a greater risk. Here with reaction, author of Here's the Deal, Kellyanne Conway, #1 New York Times bestseller, and Fox News contributor, Joe Concha. Kellyanne, look, I pointed it out during the campaign. I got criticized. I don't think there's anybody that has any ounce of intellectual honesty can argue with the fact that he's just not up for the job. It's that simple. Will Democrats take the bold step and tell him that?
Well, they fear that then the next person in line for the job isn't up for the job either. Her name's Kamala Harris, and she doesn't do much better at the talking thing than he does.
Let me vote on that. I agree. She's not up for the job either.
Strongly so. She's not. And so there is that fear, by the way. You know, Sean and Joe, it's so fascinating, isn't it, that when the Democrats now are coming out of the woodwork and saying somehow a guy who wasn't too old 18 months ago is too old now and infirm, they stop short of saying get rid of him now, just don't run again in 2024, because they don't say let's just get Kamala to step in there. She neither, like him, she also does not inspire confidence or demonstrate competence. Look, this is binary. Under Donald Trump, record low poverty. Under Joe Biden, record low approval ratings. Under Donald Trump, we had the highest unemployment in 50 years. Under Joe Biden, highest inflation in 40 years. Why is this important? Well, it's important because those weren't just about those individual personalities or even presidents. It was about policies. And I think we're all being seduced into talking too much about Joe Biden. As fun as it is, I think we should be talking about the Democrats, Sean. The difference between 15 seats for the Republicans this fall and 50 in the House could be the ability to make all of the Democrats, not just Joe Biden, own and eat all these terrible policies. You have these moderate Democrats now, like Alyssa Salk came from Michigan today, pretending that she was worried about inflation. She was warning the Biden White House, oh, no, what can we do? It reminds me of the Democratic moderates who were upset after the 2020 election saying, don't you ever again utter those 3 words, defund the police. I almost lost my seat. Now they're saying about inflation. These are Democratic policy problems, not just Biden problems. I want them all gone.
You know, I look at this, Joe Concha, and now we're seeing the media 2.5 years later acknowledge the obvious that we had. Now, there's 2 points about this. One, any Democrat that might replace Biden is probably going to adopt the same policies and similarly be beholden to the climate alarmist cult that is the Democratic Socialist Party. So things won't change in that respect. But what about the people? I mean, to be honest, they all know how bad his condition is, and it's probably worse than we even can see. You know, do we not get to the point where it's borderline elder abuse with this guy? Forcing him out there, and he comes stumbling, stammering, you know, tripping and falling, and the wind blew him over. At some point, does anybody care about him enough to say, Joe, I think it's time. You need to hand the reins off to Kamala or somebody else?
One would hope so, Sean. But I think, again, when we focus on age, the premise seems to be that, well, when Joe Biden had his fastball, he had the proper instincts and had the proper perspective and policies to move the country forward. And you ask Robert Gates, for example, who was his defense secretary under Obama-Biden, and said, and this is what Gates said in his book in 2014, that he was wrong about every foreign policy decision throughout his 50-year career, whether it be in the Senate or as vice president. Remember, this is the guy who told Barack Obama he should not go into Pakistan and get Osama bin Laden. This is the guy who voted against the first Gulf War that even Al Gore had supported at that point. So, you know, his instincts on foreign policy have been horrible. And then when his instinct now, or at least the instincts of his handlers, is let's spend trillions more so we could lower inflation, you know, that's not the way it works. But then to the age thing, I mean, when he gets up in front of the press on an international stage and again does that whole they gave me a list of reporters to call on thing, he's done this multiple times as president. It's several flavors of stupid, and it's like the porch light is on and no one's home. You would think someone sane and sober in the White House will pull him aside and say, please stop sharing that information, because it may look like you're avoiding hard questions and calling on those who only ask those of the cotton candy variety. Barack Obama was able to win re-election. Yeah, I know. And Obama, he won re-election, but not because his policies and performance, were all that great, right? But because he could put together a good speech and give coherent answers, unlike his former vice president is now doing as president. But one more point. Kellyanne's exactly right. You connect every Democrat that is running in the Congress and the Senate for a seat or running for re-election to Joe Biden on inflation, on education, on gas prices, and on crime. And if you do that and you focus on those four issues like a laser, I don't see how too many of them will lose because Democrats don't have a bumper sticker, and they know it, Sean.
Quick exit question and a prediction from both of you. Kellyanne, will Joe Biden finish his first term?
Yes, he's not going to finish any sentences, but he will finish his first term.
That's too funny. I can't not laugh. Joe Concha. Jeez.
It's like trying to take the keys from your grandfather who's 84 and shouldn't be driving anymore. He's not letting go of those keys. Joe Biden's not letting go of his presidency.
If it was my father or mother, I'd take the keys and I'd find a way, and I'd hire a driver, get him an Uber account, whatever I needed to do. Kellyanne Conway, thank you. Joe Concha, thank you.
Thank you, Sean.
I appreciate it. Hey, Sean Hannity here. Hey, click here to subscribe to Fox News YouTube page and catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis. You will not get it anywhere else.